Imagine standing in the middle of a barren desert, the sun beating down, silence stretching endlessly in every direction. Beneath your feet, the ground looks ordinary, just sand and stone. But if you could rise high into the sky, if you could see from above, suddenly the desert transforms into something extraordinary. Vast, perfect lines stretching for miles, geometric shapes etched into the earth, enormous figures of animals, humans, and strange beings that no eye on the ground could ever fully grasp. These are the Nazca Lines of Peru, a mystery that has haunted archaeologists, historians, and dreamers for centuries. Pause. Who carved them? Why did they carve them? And perhaps the most puzzling question of all, who were they meant for? The Nazca Lines are unlike anything else in human history, created thousands of years ago, long before the existence of flight, satellites, or even maps as we know them. They are so large that most can only be seen clearly from the sky. Spanning over 500 square kilometers of desert plateaus. The lines form hundreds of straight lines that stretch perfectly across hills and valleys. Spirals, trapezoids, and massive figures of living creatures. A monkey with a coiled tail, a hummingbird with wings outstretched, a spider, its legs precisely proportioned. Some figures measure more than 1,000 feet across, larger than the Eiffel Tower laid on its side. How, in an age without modern tools or technology, could the Nazca people achieve such precision? And more importantly, why? When the lines were first rediscovered in the early 20th century, pilots flying over the Peruvian desert reported seeing what looked like ancient runways or massive symbols carved into the earth. Imagine the shock of realizing these designs had been sitting there for centuries, invisible from the ground yet perfectly visible from the air. Some researchers immediately suggested they must have been ritualistic. Offerings to the gods above, visible only to celestial beings who could look down upon them. Others whispered darker theories that they were not made for gods at all, but for something else entirely. Dramatic pause for visitors from the sky. To understand the enigma of the Nazca Lines, we must journey back nearly 2,000 years. The Nazca civilization flourished in southern Peru between 200 BCE and 600 CE. They were skilled farmers who somehow managed to thrive in one of the driest deserts on Earth, using ingenious underground aqueduct systems to bring water to their crops. But alongside their daily struggle for survival, they left behind something that seems far beyond practicality. These immense desert drawings. Some scholars argue the lines were astronomical calendars, mapping the movements of the sun, moon, and stars. Perhaps the hummingbird points toward the summer solstice. Perhaps the monkey aligns with constellations. But others believe the lines were used for rituals tied to water and fertility prayers etched into the earth, desperate calls for rain in a desert that rarely grants it. Yet, there's something unsettling. Many of the designs are not just symbolic, they are mathematically precise. The straight lines stretch for miles, perfectly aligned despite hills and uneven terrain. How could an ancient society, without aerial views, without drones or satellites, create such flawless figures? Some say they may have used wooden stakes and ropes as guides, walking carefully across the desert, plotting giant designs step by step. But even so, the scale is staggering. To carve a hummingbird nearly 1,000 feet long without ever seeing the full picture. It almost seems impossible. Unless, of course, they weren't alone. Over the years, the Nazca Lines have inspired countless theories, some more grounded in science. Others wandering into the realm of the fantastic. Erich von Däniken, in his famous book Chariots of the Gods, suggested that the lines were landing strips for extraterrestrial spacecraft. The vast runways, the sheer size of the figures, were they, perhaps, markers, guiding ancient visitors from beyond our world to this lonely desert plateau? To some, it sounds like science fiction. But when you stand in the desert, staring at lines that stretch endlessly to the horizon, it's hard not to wonder if they were meant to be seen by someone or something watching from above. But let's not rush to conclusions. Archaeologists studying the Nazca people remind us that they were deeply spiritual, and their lives revolved around the forces of nature. The desert is unforgiving, and water meant life itself. Some researchers believe the trapezoids and spirals were ritual walkways. Imagine processions of priests and worshippers walking the lines, tracing shapes as part of ceremonies to summon rain. The spider, after all, is linked to fertility in Nazca mythology, the hummingbird, a symbol of life and renewal. Could the lines be massive prayers written not in ink, but in stone and sand? Still, even the most careful scientific explanations cannot erase the aura of mystery. Why make them so enormous? Why design something no one on Earth could properly see at the time? Why devote generations of labor to a project so vast it seems designed for the heavens themselves? Pause. And here's something even stranger. Over time, new images have been discovered, not just animals and geometric shapes, but human-like figures, strange beings with enormous eyes and elongated heads. Figures that don't quite resemble humans as we know them. Were these gods mythological beings or representations of something the Nazca people encountered? Some of the humanoid figures look hauntingly similar to modern depictions of extraterrestrials. Coincidence or a clue? Now, before we go deeper into the theories, let me pause for just a moment. If you're fascinated by mysteries like this, by the secrets of lost civilizations and the puzzles history cannot solve, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Mysteries of Time. Your support keeps these stories alive, and it helps us uncover even more of the hidden chapters of our past. Pause. All right, let's continue. One of the most enduring mysteries of the Nazca Lines is how they survived for so long. Remember, these lines are not carved deep trenches. They are simply shallow grooves scraped into the desert surface, exposing the lighter-colored soil beneath. In most places on Earth, winds, rain, or erosion would have erased them centuries ago. Yet here they remain almost untouched. The secret lies in the desert itself. The Nazca Plateau receives almost no rainfall, and the surface soil is coated in a layer of dark, oxidized stones. Once removed, the pale soil beneath is revealed, and because there is virtually no weather to disturb it, the lines have endured for nearly 2 millennia. It's as if nature itself conspired to preserve this ancient riddle for us to ponder. But even preservation raises questions. Were the Nazca aware their lines would last for centuries? Were they consciously leaving a message, not just for their gods, but perhaps for future generations? And if so, what is that message? Some believe the lines tell a story of cosmic connection as civilization reaching out to the sky, not only to plead for water, but to claim their place in the universe. Others suggest the lines form a map of underground water sources, a giant coded guide to survival in the desert. Could the lines be both practical and spiritual, science and religion woven together? And then there is the unsettling possibility that the lines were never meant for humans at all. Imagine ancient shamans gazing up at the stars, convinced they were communicating with beings beyond Earth. Imagine rituals where the people walked these lines in, patterns that mirrored constellations above, hoping their movements would be seen from the heavens. Were the Nazca attempting to bridge the gap between Earth and sky, humanity and the unknown? Dramatic effect. Aerial photography, drones, and satellite imagery have uncovered dozens of previously unknown figures. Some buried by time, some faded, but still visible. Each new discovery deepens the puzzle, showing us that the Nazca were far more ambitious than we ever imagined. Yet, with every answer, more questions arise. As you picture those vast, silent lines stretching into the horizon, think about this. The Nazca people are gone. Their voices are lost. Their language forgotten. Yet their message remains etched across the desert like a whisper frozen in time. Who was meant to see it? Were these messages to their gods, navigational beacons, cosmic maps, or something beyond our comprehension? Perhaps the real mystery of the Nazca Lines is that we may never know for certain, but maybe that's the beauty of it. Some mysteries are meant to be solved. They meant to remind us that the past is deeper, stranger, and more powerful than we imagine. And as long as the lines remain, stretching silently across the Peruvian desert, they will continue to challenge us, to inspire us, and to whisper their secrets to anyone willing to look up at the sky and wonder. If you enjoyed this journey into the mysteries of the Nazca Lines, you'll love exploring the other secrets of our past right here on Mysteries of Time. From lost cities buried in jungles to forbidden knowledge of ancient civilizations, there are countless stories waiting to be uncovered. So join us again, and together let's keep exploring the hidden chapters of human history, one mystery at a time.